seems that one European country after another is attempting to reassure Jews that they're safe just staying put. Angela Merkel has in fact tried to assure both Muslims and Jews alike that they are safe in Germany. With thousands of Jews already leaving France out of fear of continued violence against them, government leaders, notably in France, Germany, and England, are trying to avoid a mass exodus of Jews, in particular from the inflamed situation. Israel has a long-standing policy of welcoming persecuted Jews from anywhere in the world, and they no doubt benefit from the many Jews who bring their wealth, intelligence, and drive to the country. There have even been calls in the United States to publicly welcome such refugees, with analogies being drawn to failed efforts of Jews to come to the United States prior to the Holocaust. It remains to be seen if this is a significant change in European thinking regarding their shifting demographics, or just a series of public relations moves that will end as soon as things calm down a bit. Angela Merkel declared, "We will prosecute anti-Semitic crimes by all legal means," and also added that attacks on mosques will be prosecuted vigorously because we won't be divided by those using Islamist terrorism to cast suspicion on all Muslims in Germany. Meanwhile, an ultra-Orthodox Israeli newspaper edited Merkel's picture out of coverage of the rally held in France recently to support the victims of the Charlie Hebdo massacre. Many European leaders attended that rally, and everyone wanted to see them linked hand-in-hand in solidarity. Only missing were any high-profile American politicos, a fact widely characterized as a mistake. In 2004, Oklahomans voted to ban same-sex marriage in their state by a margin of 3-1. In January of last year, a federal judge declared that vote to be unconstitutional, and in October, the Supreme Court declined to hear an appeal of that decision, making Oklahoma one of the 36 United States where gay marriage is legal. Since then, according to a group called Oklahomans for Equality, over 3,000 marriage licenses have been issued to same-sex couples. However, one state representative, Republican Representative Todd Russ, who also happens to be a credentialed Assemblies of God minister, feels this violates the religious rights of state employees who oppose same-sex marriage, so he has come up with what he feels to be a solution. His proposal, House Bill 1125, would eliminate the law requiring that persons seeking marriage acquire a state license, and would shift the onus to religious officials who would sign a certificate of marriage which couples would then file with the clerk of courts. The bill would also discontinue the practice of couples being able to marry via a judge. Couples who cannot find a religious officiant would have the option of filing an affidavit of common law marriage. Meanwhile, another Republican state representative, David Brumbaugh, has introduced legislation making it permissible for religious officials to decline same-sex marriage requests as a matter of conscience. One last thing, Russ's bill, which purports to be meant to protect state employees' religious rights should they oppose having to issue same-sex marriage licenses, makes it a crime for those clerks who don't object should they violate the prohibition. In a recent op-ed for the Washington Post, Gerard Russell, a former diplomat and author of Heirs to Forgotten Kingdoms, a portrait of 7 endangered religions in the Middle East which have roots in the distant past, related an anecdote about a member of one of these sects, the Yazidis, which trace their origins back to Zoroastrianism and other Mesopotamian beliefs. Russell explains that the young man named Mizra is fighting against ISIS because he wants to prevent them from extinguishing his cultural heritage and faith, a faith he can tell nobody anything about because the tenets are traditionally handed down only to the religion's priesthood. Russell claims that these 7 religions represent 5 million people in Syria, Lebanon, Israel, and Iraq, but that the Islamization movement threatens to wipe them out not only through the actions of terrorist groups like ISIS and Boko Haram, but by political appeasement by men such as Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. It should be noted that the president himself is a member of one of these cultural and religious minority groups, the Alawites. According to the story Russell relays about Mizra, the young man is an atheist, but his fealty to his community is so strong that when it was strongly suggested to him that he convert to Islam for his own safety, he refused, saying that even though he knows nothing of his religion's own dogma, he prefers to die a Yazidi.